Good morning, everybody. We are halfway through the 50s now. This will be video number 56 of our playthrough of Book of Hours. We are getting into the possibly would be considered the early late game or the late mid game. I'm not sure exactly where you would call it, but we're making pretty good progress. We were able to create four of the in custom terminals now. We just have to figure out how to make the fifth one. Probably need to do some more levels of Inks of Power for that. But with that said, let's dive in and see what we can get done today. So, welcome back. Everything is remembered. Hush House endures. So, when we left off, we are investigating a mark so that we can get a memory out of it. Let's see, what else do we have? Anything else going? Not, does not look like it. We have a Hive's Lament, which is some nectar power. We have some clouds, which are Moth and Moon. We have a Didymos. We have an Ascendant Harmony. We are not working on a Wind and Waiting. What have I learnt? Somewhere, perhaps, someone has won an extra year. Certain keeper-level winter recipes can be used to craft this from essential periost. And so we have an old moment. You've had them too, those moments when we seem to look out the world through another's eyes. What if those moments were real? So I remember I had a plan to use that for something. I'm trying to remember exactly what. Because it is still springtime. We could get the miner. So that would be 4 plus 2 from the miner would be 6. Where we'd get the other 8, I'm not sure though. I know I had a reason for making that. Ah, so this is almost done down here. And I think, yes, we were going to get Mr. Kill working on this crystallized chamber either today or tomorrow. The Silent Hall, that's going to be for the barber tomorrow. Ah, okay. So we made some orichalcum wire. I remember what I was going to do. We have a forge we need to do, so we have a room that needs forge. Yes, we need 12 forge up there. So we will go ahead and we will grab Denzel. Denzel will talk about practical matters, though he prefers to sit in silence. A shilling will buy his help for a day. Luckily, we have a half crown, which is 2.5 shillings. What do you need? Obviously. We have the blacksmith's assistance. Denzel the blacksmith will lend me his strength for the day. Make use of the blacksmith's help before dawn. So there is our old wound, which we will then refill this area with. And make ourselves a wormwood dream for Mr. Kill later. We are... Okay. We have jury rigged the upper level pumps. The pumps sputter and die, but they've done their work. We have some receding waters. Once more, the waters are in retreat in the lower levels of the house. So that must go. And that has 3 forge and 3 knock, so that must go right here. Gleaming black water, still as bone. I need to find some way to lower the water level before I can descend. So we'll add in the receding waters. And this will be on its way to being cleaned up. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to Denzel, and we're going to give him this orichalcum, which gets him to 6. And then we'll give him a metal, which will get him to 8. And we have a book that's being read over here. Yes, we have our new book that we found, The Sun's Design. A scorched slab of black corundum, minutely scratched on every side with intricate ideoglyphs. This book houses a Newman, a truth so powerful it can perhaps believe itself. So that should be done, and hopefully it will have some forge on it when it's done. Given where we found it in a tomb of iron and fire, it most likely does. And by the time we get finished giving them... I can offer my assistant metals, mundane or exotic. This will increase their aspects. They'll keep any metal that's left over. Additional supplies. Let it clutter up their shelves. Okay, so before we do anything else there, let me go look over here and find what we have as far as forge goes in our food cabinet. Ah, we have the Pyrrhus we can give him. So that would be another 4 points, so that will be helpful. And then we have the Evening Isles coffee. That's only 1 forge. Do we have something that will give 2 forge? We have Dawnlion coffee. Let's brew some of that up. Use a tryst for that. Okay, and the book should be finished just about the time Denzel is done working with us with our metal, giving him inspiration and determination. Boosts forge and edge. I have mastered this and gathered the lessons it concealed. In the city of Emesa, beneath the Church of the Holy Belt, in a sarcophagus of black corundum, Elgabalus lies, accursed of Janeth, neither long nor mortal, neither man nor woman, neither a liar nor a speaker of truth, neither real nor imagined. On his light-suffused skin is made manifest the sun in splendor's grand design. Elgabalus is the source of one half of this text. The source of the other half is obscure, but its power is evident. It is impossible to be certain if the sun really planned for us to enter eternity. It is impossible to be sure if the Grail, the Vagabond, and the Forge stole this birthright from us, or saved us from it. But there is a great secret here. 2 lessons on Watchman's Paradox, and a Newman, the paths of the sun. The sun has charted his paths, paths beyond walls and woods and bounds. When the sun lights our way, when we are ready, all of us will enter eternity, at least in the right history. Any librarian can use this to establish a history and complete the game, but the cartographer and the twice-born can win a particular victory. We are the Simmergists, so that really does not help us. We could use it to end the game, but we're not going to. And very lovely, it gives us Forge, Knock, and Lantern, so that is some potent power that we get from that. So we will mark that so that we can remember what it gives us. And we will add this over to our Newman shelf over here. So we have 4 Newman books now. If you can call a slate of stone a book. All right, and so Denzel will get. We don't even need the coffee because he is at 8, and we give him this, and that brings him up to 13. However, which is enough to open this door, but if we can get him to 15, which I think is possible, because this, yes, this gives us 1. So we can pour that out. And let's just scan to see, is there anything else we might have that does? I mean, almonds, of course, have forge on them. Why, of course, I say I don't know, but they do. We also have the game pie, marinated roast beef. Those all have Forge 1, so we can give him the coffee, and we can give him a tool, and that will get him to 15, and that will be enough to open up that big 15 spot. And while we have it, we might as well. So let's see, what else can we do? We do have some books that need reading, so while Denzel is doing that, let's consider our books. So we have John at Abydos, The Humors of a Gentleman, The World Does Not Weep, which we've already read. We can move that to our completed shelf. For some reason, I put In Memory of the Gods up there. I must have grabbed the wrong one. And we have Republic of Teeth, which we've read. That was probably what I meant to put up there. So we could do Sky Stories, or we could do In Memory of the Gods, which would give us Ragged Crossroads. I think we'll do Humors of a Gentleman, because that one will be fairly simple for us to read. Because all we have to do is add a Faust, and add our flute. And we have Harmony. Don't even need a skill for that. Let's hope it is equally possible to forget this again. So there's our Wormwood Dream back once more. So let's see. So we have 2 lessons in Watchman's Paradoxes, which is Light Lantern and Sky. So let's see, what lantern skills do we have that could use a boost? Well, we have Inks of Revelation, Pyroglyphics, Disciplines of the Scar, Glazerian Lightsmithing, and Watchman's Paradoxes itself, as well as Sacrosalis Invicti. Have we assigned Watchman's Paradoxes? Yes, we have. So we might as well assign this to something else. We could do 1 level of Inks of Revelation, but it's already getting close to maxing out there. We've already assigned Glazerian Lightsmithing. We have not assigned Sacrosalis Invicti. We have not assigned Disciplines of the Scar. This would give us more edge power if we did it there. Pyroglyphics would give us more forge power, but we already have transformations and liberations. I think our best play here is to assign that one to... We'll do one into Inks of Revelation, just to get it up, and... Yeah, because that'll make making... Well, Uzult is already fairly easy to make, because we only need 7 points, and so we only actually need 3 points, because the Xanthotic Essence is worth 4. So yeah, Inks of Revelation can stay where it is. Pyroglyphics... We'd need... So it's at 4 points, so we just need 2 points extra, so that's actually able to make OE without any help. Disciplines of the Scar, however, could be a good one to add it to, because it's not assigned yet, and it would give us more edge power. Or, the other option is Sky. We could do it to Anbarian Lapidary, we could go to Oronoscopy, go to Strings and Songs. We could give it to Ramsond, which is still not assigned to anything yet. Because if we wanted to assign Ramsond, you have to go to Birdsong or Preservation. So you have to go to 2 or 3. We can get it to 4, we'd unlock Birdsong 5. So that's a possibility. Let's see, what does it give us in either of those wisdoms? If we assign it to Birdsong, we get the Falconer's Tale. There's a very old tale told by falconers about the aviform hours, the secret gods who take the shape of birds. Once there were only 5, the dove, the crow, the laughing thrush, the twin kites. The 6th had fallen to the talons of an owl, and they sought another to join their company. But the crow rejected half of all those they found, for the dowdiness of their plumage, and the dove rejected the others for being too gaudy. At last they found a night bird whose feathers were both the perfect white and the perfect black of the crow and of the dove. But once they had accepted him, they learned he was no bird at all, only a night-flitting moth. Fortunately for the moth, their pride kept them from admitting their mistake. But since that day, the aviform hours will only meet at night, when the sixth of their kind won't be unmasked. So that would give us Tryst. But so let's get one of those lessons to Ramson so we can at least get it to level 3 and see what it would give us in preservation. So we need 2 memories of Sky or Moth. Well, we have 1 Moth memory here already, so we can just read a book and get 1 more. So we can read Singlefoot Songs and get Sky. And as for the other level of it, you could give it to Strings and Songs, which actually I think is probably the other good play here, because that'll get us up to 6 and make it a lot easier to make our Ascendant Harmonies and Didymoses. So we need 4 memories of Sky and Heart. So we can do Solace for Heart. We can do Seventh Voice for Sky. We can do any of these work. We can do Satisfaction for Heart. And then we can do Cheerful Ditty for the last heart. Alright, so that's our plan for those 2 lessons. So we'll give him some coffee. Oh, that's right. I was going to try and turn that into an earthquake name, is what I was going to do. So let's see. What do we have as scale? Inks of Power, Coil and Chasm. Yes, Hill and Hollow is the one that can make an earthquake name. But first we're going to need this one to be cleared up. Alright, so he's enjoyed his coffee. And now we just have to give him the square, which will get him to Forge 15, and he can open up that top cell over there. And then tomorrow we can get a barber to open up one of the rooms downstairs that needs all that moth. Because we do have some skin shuck mead we can use. Alright, so we'll collect our memories. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll do Strings and Songs with 1, 2, 3, and 4 memories. And a core to improve this to level 5. Tool has boosted their aspects appropriately. Alright, Denzel, it's time for you to get to work. So you'll come and open up this impermeable cell. A sign outside this cell reads, "Warning, not to be spoken with nor looked upon. The protections that still hang in the air lend force to the injunction." So another way we could have done this, again with Denzel as well, we could have given him a piece of Gervanite, which would have got him to 4 knock. We could have used the Chronos Cord, which would have gotten him to 10. We could use a 5-point knock Newman, and that would have gotten him to 15, and that would have been the same thing that we just did, except we used Forge instead. This one needs knock or Forge. So we could use Reverend Timothy with a Knock Newman and the Cronus Cord to get in there. But we'll see what's in here first. Alright, so Strings and Songs is now level 5. And we had the other one we were going to do was Ramsund. So, not the Ascendant Harmony, the Clouds, and Savage Hymn, and the Lesson, and Moth, or... So we'll use a Trist. Get that to level 3. And since we'll need one of these... See, so we could harvest... It's still spring, so we could harvest Cat's Claw. So I think we'll go ahead and grab one of those, since we have the ability to. And then we need some Moth Orchid. Because we're going to use that clump of beeswax that we harvested. Moth Orchid is soft as velvet to the touch, except when it changes. Gather Cat's Claw carefully, and its mischievous thorns find ways through the thickest gloves. And our pears are not yet ready. We could also get... we can't do anything here. There's nothing growing in those patches yet. They wait for summer. And we finished reading The Humors of a Gentleman, Samuel Savage's satirical comedy on the intrigues of the ailing but cunning John Son, his mistress Madeline, her lover Leo, and the upstart Corvino. By the end of the first act, Madeline has revealed a secret door in the walls of the house to Leo, and Corvino has taken to consuming worms. The play is scabrous and occasionally hilarious. The characters are contrary and capricious. Many of the more resonant lines might well be formulae of power disguised in plain sight. We've got a memory of gossip and a lesson in sky stories. So again, we have a book with a rare memory, so we'll mark this one. Oh, we can't do it there. The gossip is Rose, so we can do it at this desk. Mark this with Rose. And add this to our rare books area. We can put it down here. And we did have one other book that had, yes, Dream of the Conspiracy of Lower Sky. So we'll put both of those over here so that we know that those are very rare books. We have, there's our Cheerful Ditty, so we can put Perugian Diaries up there with that. Which then lets us bring this one down and have it next to Almanac of Entrances. There we go. And we'll put our scale Singlefoot stories up here, so scale are next to each other. And I know I'm dickering at this point, but you know, it makes me happy to see things somewhat organized. Okay, so now we were going to try and use, so we have Hill and Hollow and an Old Moment. So we need 4 more points of scale from somewhere. That only gives us 1. We could use an hourglass, which would give us another. So we're still short. But that's a possibility. I still need to find we have Hinavik, which has 2. So if I could find a book with Hinavik, book that's written in Hinavik, that would help us out quite a lot. And why is our typewriter floating in midair? I was pretty sure we had a Hinavik book that we read at some point, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. Actually, let me check my notes and see what the Hinavik books even are so I can know what I'm looking for. Oh, the most sorrowful end of the Lady Nana is in Hennebeck. So, I think we read that one. It's a nectar book. Let's look and see. Lingripe's Tasty Treats. No. Anything up here? What is this? There it is. There's our Kennevic book that we had. That's what I was looking for. So I'll grab this and bring it over to here. Just put it into the alcove there. Because now this is a little trick I figured out a while back. So we can add the book, which allows us to add Hennevic as a skill. We can then add Hill and Hollow. We can add our health, which gives us the point. And we can add Old Moment. So that gets us to 14. So we just need one more point. And luckily, we have a tool that has 1 point of scale on it, the Hourglass, which lets us make an Earthquake name. Discern a potency of scale. Hill and Hollow with Keeper level scale plus an Old Moment creates Earthquake name. So this is one way you can kind of cheat 2 extra points of scale into this equation by using Hennevic that way. So we will turn this Old Moment, which is a passing memory, into a Earthquake name, which will not be. As for this lesson in Sky Stories, I think it is probably best assigned to Inks of Power, because it is Rose, and Inks of Power is Rose, and having our ink skills as high as possible is never a bad thing. So we need 5 lessons in Scale or Rose. Well, we have the Gossip. So let's find 4 other memories in Scale or Rose. So we have Singlefoot Songs is Scale. We have Fear is Scale. That's 2. So we need Rose or Scale. So we can do an Almanac of Entrances. That gets us Rose from Secret Threshold. That's 4. We need 1 more. So let's see what we've got on our shelves. So we can do Intuition. Actually, we'll use Book of the Centipede for that. And that gets us another Rose, so that's 5. So that's our 5 skills that we need for that. And we have Fet, so we can use for upgrading. So Ramsund is now level 3. So let's see what it can do if it's assigned to Preservation. We'd put it in Preservation. The Thief's Tale. There's a very old story told by thieves about a competition among the Aviform Hours, the secret gods who take the shape of birds. The dove boasted of the bones he'd stolen from flesh, and the crow of the flesh he'd picked from bones. One of the kite twins bragged that she'd stolen the borders from kingdoms, and the other that she'd taken the roads from the crossroads. The magpie told all the colors he'd taken that are no longer found in the world, and the laughing thrush topped that with tales of the sights she'd stolen. But when the glitter-winged 7th of their number told them what he'd stolen, they were all shocked into silence. They fell upon him and stripped him of his wings and drove him from the sky. So he and what he stole are gone from the world, and now we cannot even name them, but still we feel their lack. This would give us another core, which I think is probably what we want. because core, we only have 2 of those. We have at least 3 of pretty much everything else. So we can, not counting our fatigued cores. But Trist, we have 3 of those. So we'll get 3 core by assigning this to preservation. So just as a curiosity, what do we have in preservation 4? We could do Magapine Mysteries in preservation 4, which would give us another health. The gods who are, which we call the hours, ward against the gods from stone and cast them down. What remains of the gods from stone we call plague, scourge, catastrophe. But if the gods from stone were reborn, would they still be plagues? Would renewal bring peace? The arts unregarded hint that it may be so. Or we could also assign this to Hushery. The gods who are, which we call the hours, ward against the gods from stone and cast them down. What remains of the gods from stone we call plague, scourge, catastrophe. If the hours were cast down in their turn, would the gods from stone be satisfied? Would their revenge bring peace? The night arts hint that it might be so, and that would give us a tryst. Neither one of those really excites me all that much at the moment. So let's see. Spices and savors could go to Bosk or Ithastry, which would give us Whist. Yes, and that's... We need a level 3 thing that can go in there, but we've already progressed most of ours past level 3. So I think for now we'll stay with that. Have that extra core around just in case we need an extra 2 points of heart for something. And that gives us a nice round, pretty much 3 of everything. Except we have 1 extra fet, but... Oh, right. Oh, and our work down here is done. The lower pump room. The Curia installed these pumps when the lower levels of the Sisterhood's holy place were already dry. Why? What were they looking for? What lies beneath Brankrug Isle that even the Sisterhood never found? So this, the pump's lower level. These machines are of different and newer manufacture than the ones above. They include something like a generator, too, but they're in even worse condition. I'll need to provide suitable materials and fuel, and I'll need scholar level of forge to jury-rig them. Well, that should be easy enough to do. I just have to make some Gervanite, and then throw in some transformations and liberations and a metal. And we have unlocked the Fluttering Crypt. The darkness here beats with wings. Bats? The sound is more like birds, but there is a timpani quality that suggests more bones than feathers. One more step and I sense the possibility of talons. 15 winter or 15 moon. So that would be a job for Mr. Kill or for a fisherman. And then we have this crystallized chamber over here. 13 moon, that's definitely for Mr. Kill. And then 15 moth, which is going to be for a barber tomorrow. Because tomorrow will be summer and the barbers will be coming into town. We have a cell worm inhabited. The occupant of this cell could not be allowed fresh air and exercise. It could not have reasonably expected to leave this cell ever again, even while it wore human shape. But it could not be confined forever. In the end, somehow, it found its way into the walls. We have a midnight mark, a blemish left on a page or skin by careful incision or a judicious sting to preserve a little of the power of the night. A bottle of Stargall ink, a ink traditionally but only rarely made with meteoric iron, a minor ink of power, some whispering sand, and some desiccated witchworms. And nothing else, but you can definitely see there was the tracks where it tried to... where everything was sealed up so it could not escape, although escape it somehow did. Probably not for very long, though. And we have now a trapped cell. A sign outside this door reads, "Warning, do not enter while safety measures are armed. 13 edge or 13 knock." Don't see a lot of edge and knock together, so I wonder what was in there. We do see some weapons on the wall, so that would be probably explain why the edge. And then this one, a sealed cell. A sign outside this cell reads, "Warning, do not insert keys without first invoking adequate authorization. The key is in the staff room, but I shouldn't turn it without invoking powers to provide a reasonable facsimile of authorization." So this looks like it has another bed in there and some things on the wall, but we'll probably get to that in the next few days or so. So with that said, let's go ahead and finish this day up. We've got our memories cooking so we can upgrade Inks of Power. And that will finish out the day, I think. And then we can go right into tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit so those memories finish. We've got our Earthquake name crafting. Should finish just around the new day. Alright, so there's our memories. So we will grab Inks of Power. Lesson and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 memories and a bet. And at last I'm something of an authority in this at level 6. And there's our Cat's Claw. And our Moth Orchid. So now we'll use a skill that we have not used in the past before, but we can now. We can add some beeswax. There's potential here. Start by adding a soul card. So we need something with chandlery. So let's find one with chandlery. Glazery and lightsmithing works, but it doesn't fit there. But let's see what else has chandlery. Pyroglyphics, insects and nectars. Well, insects and nectars works. And then we just need to add a piece of soul. Make a beeswax candle or add a suitable second ingredient. Let's add our moth orchid. Make a moth orchid scented candle to bring dreams. Because tomorrow we are going to try and get Reverend Timothy's help for opening that 12-point knock room. Alright, Inks of Power is now level 6. 7 rows and 6 scale. So just because it might be helpful, I'm going to read myself another copy of something that gives 2 points at rows. Yes, so we'll get another intuition here. Actually, we'll do a 7th voice and have confounding parable just in case we need the extra the moon or something. Because I want to check on something with Inks of Power being at level 7 now. And there is our earthquake name. Speak half a syllable and feel the beast stir half a coil. Earthquake name. Everything comes when it's called, even the nightmares that trouble Stone's deep sleep. If you'll notice, this is also some of the stuff that's written on the crack track. So this is evidently written in crack track itself. 3 forge and 6 scale. And it is an omen and it is persistent. So that will not be going away until Numa comes. Which, with my luck, we're about to hit one, but let's see what's about to happen. Before that does, let's grab ourselves... Let's grab ourselves a Timothy. Just in case Numa comes around, he can give us some memories. We have a sunny day. And we have a normal season. We do appreciate the contribution. Alright, so we will start. So Reverend Timothy has 1 point of knock already. So we will start by giving him a shaft. Education or beguilement. Boosts knock and forge. So then we also have the candle that we're going to give him. And we need to make a curious hunch, which will give... Or actually, let me see. Do we have either... Do any of these give knock? Yes, I believe one of them does. Yes, inescapable confinement gives knock. And Path of the Sun gives knock. So we can read either one of those. We'll read inescapable. Alright, so that will give us 8 knock. A scent like evening. So this will get him to 10 knock. So we need 2 more points somewhere. So the game pie would give him 1 point of knock. I'm thinking here, I'm thinking. Oh, we have the Cronus Cord we can give him. That'll actually give us, without having to use everything. And we can always make another Cronus Cord. Alright, so there's our confounding parable. So the experiment we're going to try with Rose. We'll come over here. We'll add Inks of Power and the confounding parable. And a Fet gets us to 11 rows. So we know that getting to 10 crafts Ichor Auroral. And I think if we can get this to 15, we'll see something happen. So we're going to need... So I'll go ahead and read another... So we'll need get 2 Rose memories there. Because the Ichor Auroral is 2 points. And that gets us to 11, so that'll get us to 15. My assistant and I fall easily into conversation, especially with Timothy. Reverend Timothy, the rector of Brankrug, ordained by the Church of the Unconquered Sun. A learned man, blessed in the tally, the gate, and the light. So we've collaborated with him. We're collaborating for the day. We will give him Candle, which will get him to 5. I can offer my assistant a candle. This will increase their aspects. They'll keep any candle stumps that might be left over. Alright. We have Mr. Esan Fekri. Formerly, Esan was a healer. He was not human. He was Secretary Salvant of Hush House, but not all at the same time. Fussy, kind, famously foul to look upon. So he knows Deep Mandaic, Greek, Aramaic. He's interested in sky and heart, and he likes moon food but sky drink. We'll put him on ice for the moment and finish working with Reverend Timothy. Every candle has its shadow. This has improved their aspects appropriately. So we can give him the Cronus Cord. I can lend my assistant something to help, increasing their abilities. This is a device, a one-use tool. You won't get it back. That's okay. We can make more. And there is our Newman, so that will get him actually up to knock 16. So where can we put that to use? We can have him open the Slithering Fountain, or we could have him open either one of these rooms. I think we'll have him open the fountain, because that way we're getting the most use out of him, and 14 knock is quite a bit. So we would have been fine without the candle, but I wanted to show what you can do with Reverend Timothy and how he uses candles like that. So we'll go ahead, and also we will need a barber's assistance. Actually, we'll wait until tomorrow for the barber, because we need... well, let's see. If we park Esan, which we can do, because he has heart and sky, so let's find a heart bed for him. So we'll camp him here. Visitors will stay in a suitable bed for a little longer, in case you think you might be close to finding a suitable book. So we can park him there for 3 minutes, which should be enough for us to finish up with our assistants. Because we can use... So let's find that the stuff we will need for the barber. There is our second memory. So we will start this cooking. If this works it should, like I think it should. So we can do memory intuition, the confounding parable, and a fet. Then we can add inks of power. And finally, we add... Oop, does it not go there? Okay, so we need... Oh, it fits there. But it doesn't fit there. Okay, so we need somewhere we can get 2 memories in. Or something... So let's see. Ichor-Auroral. And a memory. That one doesn't take Rose. So let's find somewhere that takes Rose. Rose not there. Oh, that one takes a mark. That's how we can do this, I believe. So let's see. Does our Ichor-Auroral go in there? Yes, it does. So what we need to do is we need to make a salt sign. Which we should be able to do with Inks of Power, I believe. Inks of Power, yes, with just Rose makes a salt sign. So we'll give that a minute, and then we should be able to do our... we should be able to make a level 15 craft with Inks of Power. So let's see. Let me find our Skin Shuck Mead. Yes. So that's 6, 7, 8. And we will begin reading our one that gives us Moth, 3 rules. Device has boosted their aspects appropriately. We just give him the Newman Inescapable Confinement now. A little bit of overkill, but better overkill than underkill, and it wastes our time for the day. And we had the second flush of Psalm we could give him that would give him another point, but we don't really need to. 15 is as high as it goes, I think. Or 15 is as high as a room goes. Alright, so we can now put him to work. And he will open up the Slithering Fountain. After all these years, the fountain in this hall is blocked. That's not a surprise. A little more surprising is this. The blockage appears to be mostly snakes. A great many snakes. This, no doubt, is why we have seen so few rats. Alright, so that is done. So now we can grab out our barber for the day. Barbers offer Moth and a little Rose. Give him the Skin Shuck Mead. The itinerant barbers of the South Country will keep you clean and kempt, make sure you don't miss out on any news or gossip, and arrange matters so you aren't too troubled by vermin. Snip, snip. And we'll give him some Skin Shuck Mead, a murky, sweet-smelling liquid crowded with sediment. So this will get him to Moth 8. Then we give him the Tryst, which will get him to 10, and then the Newman will get him to Moth 15, so he can open up this silent hall. The hearth is cold, the floor thick with dust, the walls streaked with nitre. Old invocations and forbiddings squeak and whisper like rats. Alright, elegant as an alchemical formula. So there is our salt sign. We actually should be able to use that here, too. So that, and then a memory intuition. Pet. Yes. And Inks of Power gets us to 15, which lets us craft Porphyrin. Deepen the Ichor into the Encostum Terminal Porphyrin. Inks of Power with Keeper level Rose plus Ichor Auroral creates Porphyrin. So we have our final and 5th Encostum that we have never seen before, but we'll go ahead and start that crafting. So now we have a path to making that. And there's our 3 Rules Newman, rather, which we will give to the barber. Down to the Grushians. One can only wonder what his mind must be going through as we explain about this Newman to him. About the hours and the chancel and the calyptra, and he's going, I don't really understand, but I think I do. And then finally we can give him a Tryst, which will give him the last 2 points he needs. So we have the Narthex. If you were a pilgrim to the Abbey of the White Crow, you'd purify yourself here. You didn't want to track profane Dumonian mud or alien Mare Britannicum salt into the holy precincts, or unclean thoughts, especially not unclean thoughts. The priestesses here were a little more merciful than the hours they served, but only a little. So we found a viper egg, a serpent in waiting, a widow's candle, an Agolophotis scented candle, which is, for Timothy is quite the potent boost, because it gives 2 knock, 2 heart, 2 lantern, and 2 sky, or 2 rose rather. We also have some sea glass, smooth as an egg, frosted like a winter window, some Atlantic amber, sunset's colors, pine's blood, and some Eva's locks, a pale rack washed up on the beach by Brandkrug. So it's rose and winter, and it's also a leaf and a flower. So this is what we were looking for earlier. So we will grab that. Because now we can come over here. And let's see. So we need 6. So we need to make a winning move. So we will use Disciplines of the Scar. And actually, we don't need to use the metal. We can use a core to make a Torg's Cleansing. And then we'll turn that Torg's Cleansing into a winning move. Memories don't last as long outside books, but it's made a difference for the day. And then finally, we give him a Tryst, which gets him to Moth 15. Secret sorrows may join our strengths. Boosts Moth and Moon. So let's see. So with Disciplines of the Scar, we have 6, 7, 8. We need 2 more edge. Or actually, we just need 1 more edge because we have an edge. So we'll grab DeHorace and make a Contradiction, which gets us 2 edge. So that's over what we need. And while that is flocking along, we'll go ahead and start making ourselves another Chronos Cord beginning by making an Amethyst Ampoule. What comes, neither of us knows yet, but we will. So we will set the barber to cleaning up this silent hall. And let's see. We'll fast forward just a little bit since all we're doing now is waiting. Oh, and Mr. Feckery should be getting done here. Yes. In just a few seconds. Cleansing has left my skin burning, my teeth throbbing. The co-rivality rumbles beneath the membranous surfaces of the waking world. Alright. So actually, we can come over here to the vagabond desk. And we can add Disciplines of the Scar, Torque's Cleansing. That gets us to, we're not quite able to get there. Although, let's see, doesn't one of our languages have edge to it? Oh, that would be Hyksos, which we don't own yet. Alright, so back to the practice dummy. We have our 2 memories. We add our metal. And we add, actually we don't need that, we can just use the core again. Okay, Disciplines of the Scar. So that makes, that's what we need. So instead we do Disciplines of the Hammer, I think it is. Yes, Disciplines of the Hammer makes the winning move. So we'll get that started. Then we should be able to start making Perunculate. My visitor grows impatient. So we can talk. Now we can talk with him. It's good to be back. Thank you for seeing me. I had been planning to visit next autumn to see Zuthi one more time, and now I'll never have the chance. However long one lives, one does not grow entirely accustomed to the suddenness of death. I've already missed his funeral, but I've commissioned a memorial composition for him. I'm hoping that it can be played on the device of his, but there are ramifications to invoking the powers of the lower skies that I must understand first. Oh, Zuthi. He was a much greater craftsman than I had realized, and I think it might have been the death of him. Perhaps this unfinished lark should remain unfinished. Thank you, Librarian. So there's our amethyst ampule. And then we can add Shapt and the amethyst ampule. And we still need one more point. So Lockworks and Clockworks, we're going to need one more point in before it becomes a self-creating Gervanite factory. So let's see, what else do we have here? So we'll drop this into the forge here, so just so we have it ready for later, once we get another knock memory. And this is an uncustom terminal, one of the great inks. Use it with your journal to record a history and fulfill your reason for coming to Rush House, if you so choose. Porphyrin, the uncustom terminal of the second history. It's the glowing crimson mauve of the secret histories. Porphyrin was venerated in secret by a confraternity of corresponding Cluniacs and Benedictines. Use an uncustom ink with your journal to make determinations and record histories. If the hours listen, the world changes. Porphyrin might also be used to compose a petition for the Labyrinth season, if you can provide at least 20 of Nock, Rose, or Moon, no Edge, Heart, or Winter at all, and a suitable writing material. So we now have all 5 of the encostoms, so we'll add this to our encostum shelf up here. And kind of space it out so everything's nice and neat. So this has Nock, Moon, and Rose on it. We have Edge, Scale, and Winter. Forge, Heart, and Sky. Grail, Nock, and Nectar. And Lantern, Moth, and Sky. So anything that we need a huge boost of aspect to read something, we now have the ability to make whatever we need. So let's see now. Oh. So Cat's Claw actually serves as both leaf and flower as well, which makes me wonder that our new room is now open. We have the Hall of Voices. Here, the higher initiates of the threefold mysteries would meet to manage the affairs of the Black Dove and to resolve its disputes. Here they voted to blind and expel the Choriots of the Thunderskin, who had trespassed in the inner chambers and spied on the mysteries. From that time on, the rites of the Thunderskin were not permitted on the Isle, and the sacred drums fell silent. But the waves still beat in the bones of the rock. Even now, that slow pulse comes. We've got another mortar and pestle. We have another black sapphire wash, the color perhaps of the doors of the House of the Moon. Another widow's candle. A chalice of Lambig Brocleand. And we can hold salons here, an eccentric, or at least atmospheric choice of venue for a salon. Here one might have 11s in the morning, or afternoon tea later in the day. Neither event should include any intoxicating drinks. And we have 3 uncatalogued books to look at. So let's go ahead and get those started and see what we found. From Hush House's dawn period, sometime before the end of the first millennium, commonly reckoned. Here we can use our Arab. Alright, so that's all 3 of those books getting cataloged. And we have the Hearth Hall of Voices. Here the priestesses prepared those meals which they would not or could not entrust to their servants. So this is actually going to be a useful place because it is a place that we can put flowers that accepts edge. And leaves that accept edge. So as soon as we finish this winning move, I'll show you why I've been making those. Alright, so we have found 5 creations. The itinerant scholar Shohei debated 5 possible origins for humanity with a hooded figure, since claimed to be the beach crow. Shohei later claimed that all those accounts had proven false, but the debate was, nevertheless, recorded. It's 14 moth, written in Vak, and it will teach us about resurgences and emergences. Well, let's check. We already have resurgences and emergences at 7, so this will definitely give us at least one extra lesson that we will not need. But let's see what else we found. The Wonderful Shape. Blessings and invocations of the triple knot recorded at a sanctuary in Cyprus, notable for its weavers, sculptors, and gardeners. 10 Grail and written in Kilisimi, and it will teach us about Tridesmihera. Should be easy enough. And then finally, we found the Book of Mia, an account of the 5 visits of the desert wanderer, probably the hour called the Vagabond, to the city Mia. She begins as a delighted child, perhaps even a mortal, but things then go badly. So it's written in Hyksos, so we can't read that just yet. Rose 10 should be easy enough, and it will teach us about sand stories. So we'll put this here with the Ascendant, the other Hyksos book that we cannot read yet. And move this lamp just a little bit over so it's not blocking the view there. And we have Esson's card and a bronze Spintria, so we'll go ahead and mark Esson's address down for us. Water Lane, Steeple Aston. But will they come when you call for them? So we have another occult scrap, which we can make as many as we want using this old yellowing newspaper, but since we had one coming, I didn't bother to make another one just yet. Alright, 5 seconds here. And just as the day breaks, with Keeper level edge, a winning move is the... And we lost it. Oh well. It was worth a shot. We can just... But since we have that cat's claw, we can actually make use of that. So what we are going to do... We'll make another Torg's cleansing, because all we need is 2 extra points. Because the cat's claw itself is 2 points of edge. Alright, so we have some sun to work with today. But I think this is probably a good point at which we'll call it a day and pick up from here tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. If you've been enjoying what you've been watching, please leave a like or a comment down below. If you'd like to see where this story is going and see where we end up, please subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow.